Welcome to the Bergara War, proudly sponsored by the Players' Entrance at Covent Garden Cafe and the Royal Oak Edgeley.
Oh, great flick up by Alan Armstrong.
Hello there, and thank you for joining us for the latest episode of the Bergara War, the Thinking Fans podcast. I'm the apparently superfluous Nick Lee, here to guide you through the last month of county happenings. Now, call me misguided, call me teeth if you want, I've no fucking idea either. We're a team on this podcast, and the one thing you should do with a team is get behind all members of it. See what I did there. More on that shortly. He collects records, it's his decision, and it's vinyl. It's Russ Johnson, you alright Russ?
Alright, yeah.
Alright mate, good to be back. And my other co-host comes from a time when a gender reveal meant exposing yourself in the park. Dave Espley. Hi Dave.
Evening teeth.
Now our guest tonight joins a select group of people who've been on more than once, joining such big names as Gary Stockford, Phil Brennan and Sam Byrne. He's bringing everything we've been missing on the podcast. Joie de vivre, panache, brioche. Welcome Ben Walker.
Thank you for having me, good to be back.
And Russ, our collective cheeks are spread. Hit us with that suppository of county chat.
Well, where do we start? Where do you want to start?
I think we should start with what is a regular feature, but we've not really had a name for the feature. So why don't you hit that button and we'll play the jingle.
Okay, let's go.
Do you want the deep end or the shallow end? It's the Bedwetter watch. So, yeah, Bedwetter talk. There's been a fair bit of bedwettery recently, hasn't there? We've weirdly had private messages asking us not to talk about it, but I think sending thinly veiled threats via private message is about as much use as Anthrax drunk it, so it's not going to make a difference.
Well, I think what we need to say is, look, if you're going to do something at a football match related to county, then we're going to talk about it. End of, because it's part of the game, it's part of football, so you can't go and do something and then expect us not to talk about it. So, what are we talking about, by the way? I've fucking got no idea.
But it is something which I think I spoke up to Nick about it before, that we've all had a moment at a game when a player's misplaced a pass or the keeper's let one in or missed a shot, and in a moment you've gone, oh, he's fucking rubbish he is. Sorry for swearing so early on in this. And then the moment's passed and then it's gone. But to carry that on to Twitter or Facebook or wherever, hours after the game, and then dig your heels in deeper when you're called out on it rather than just walk away, then, and if you're tagging players in it, do you know what? You deserve the reaction you get. You deserve everything you get from me.
It's almost as football's like an inherently nuanced thing that can't just be boiled down to good or shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've even shouted at ball boys before, you know, when they're not multi-balling fast enough, and you just think, for fuck's sake, but I didn't go around his house later.
It's weird punching him though.
But, you know, if we just separate it a bit, if we separate the human element from the football or sporting element, there's loads to dig into here, isn't there? Absolutely loads. You know, is it acceptable to say something like that to a sports person? Affects their mental health. It probably affects yours.
Mine.
Well, yeah, it probably affects yours, or the, you know, especially when you get the kickback that people get when they do that kind of thing. So, and then the sporting element, I don't really know what anyone's trying to achieve by doing that kind of thing, because you're not going to get the player to play any better. And I think I tweeted. Well, no, I don't think I tweeted. I did tweet because I remember doing it. Look, if our best manager in the history of the club believes in a player, then we should. Do you know, this isn't Carlton Palmer or Darie Kalazic believing in a player. It's Jim Gannon. So believe in the player. You know, that's all. That's pretty much all I've got to say about it.
Self-defeating as well, isn't it? Because if you do destroy a player either in the moment at the game or on Twitter later, so that it's on his mind for the next time he plays, then you've got less than the full strength 11, because you've got one player who's got something on his mind that's potentially being caused by you. So why do it if you're a fan of the club?
I think for some people though, that's kind of almost part of the validation of doing it. That digging him into such a hole and making him such a weaker player, as we've seen happen with players over the years. It's like, well, I told you so. I told you he was shit, and I just don't get that mentality at all. I'm not someone who will stand there, clap a player off or the team off, if we've lost 6-0 and stand there singing, we'll support you evermore if, the players haven't put a shift in. But come on, we're not talking about someone who's done nothing for the club or someone who is just some one appearance, no hoper.
It's not Jordan Rose who'd look like a headless chicken for 90 minutes and then clap the fans at the
The
end.
guy's won a league title for us. He played a pivotal part in a league title. He's a young kid. He's not 17, 18 young, but he's a young kid. He's developing every year. I'm sure he'll say himself, I'm sure Jim will say himself, he's still got a lot to learn. But I would rather have a Stockport County team or squad with Niall Bell in it than one without him in it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, and I think players like Niall Bell, because they are local, and we saw this argument as well, because they are local, for me they get extra bonus points and they get extra time to a certain extent if they're local, if they're playing for Stockport, they're from Stockport and they're scoring from Stockport.
The phrase goes.
As the phrase goes,
Yeah.
not scoring from Stockport.
That was looking on the flag, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Tell us about this flag, Ben. Come on.
Yeah, well, I was out with the mates Saturday night, so I didn't go to the game, didn't see anything about this until Sunday morning, and then catching up on Twitter, and I just saw that quote from Jim. Lives in Stockport, plays for Stockport, scores for Stockport. And you think, alright, that's pretty cool. That I really like that. What can we do with that? And I think a really visible, clear sign of support. Some T-shirts, posters or whatever are cool. Maybe we'll talk about T-shirts and posters shortly. But a flag, very visible, take it to games, like we've done with the Ken Boxall one. Show our support for a proper club hero. That I think what better way to show that Niall has got our support and that celebrate some of the stuff that Jim Gannon comes out with. Let's put that on a flag. I just sort of put something on Twitter saying, look, this would be a great flag. Anyone wants to chip in, let's do it. There's one available for about 80 quid. Within half an hour, we had 100. The biggest flag I could find, I think, is 18-foot flag. And we've hit that now, and the order's gone in. So at games next season, we will have I don't even know how big 18-foot is. It's 3 of me, and I'm pretty big. It's bigger. It wouldn't fit in the goal mouth, so would barely fit in the 18-yard box. But that'll be at games next season. Lives in Stockport, plays for Stockport, scores for Stockport, and that's funded by county fans as a reaction to this.
Yeah,
mad arsery at the weekend.
And not only that, it'll live on for every player that comes through the ranks from now on.
Yeah. And I think it's a really kind of strong, I don't know, mission is the kind of wrong word, but something really strong to get behind for anyone who comes to county. Yeah, buy into those 3 lines, and you'll do well for us.
Yeah.
Because, the people in question, the person who did it and the people who are defending it don't seem to realise that players at other clubs will see this type of stuff going on, and then might think in the future, well, I'm not fucking going there. I'm not signing for them. The fans are dickheads. So
possibly,
the response, the fact that the fans from all over the world have put money in for that, it's fantastic. Great.
You would hope that the reaction to it, which is what we just talked about with the flag and everything, 95% of people, jumping straight on top of it, would counter that. And I think it's almost our job to make that not the narrative for potential signings. To say, actually, it's cool, Stockport. They have this flag thing. They have this Ken Boxall thing that we took. This announced that he's made a cult hero. We've got this, that, and the other. We've got managers' quotes on flags at the back of the stand. That's cool club there. Fancy them.
That's what we want to be a cool club, don't we? That's
yeah.
it.
We are a cool club.
The county culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooler than that lot down the road. Anyway, doing their kit launch in Stockport.
And the pretty green knockoff shirts.
Yeah. Have you seen the United third shirt today?
What's going on there? The shirt was bad enough, but the shorts and socks are the same.
The team are playing in plain shorts. The fan shorts are a continuation, like our 95-96 home shirt, which was just pin stripe all the way down.
Yeah.
The fan shorts that for United's new third kit is a continuation of the shirt, but the team I think are playing in either black or white.
Right.
I'd like to see how that looks. But it's one of those shirts that now everyone hates it, but in 20 years' time it'll go down. Everyone will be falling over themselves to get it.
Yeah.
Our iconic zigzag one, the 93-94 one.
That's it.
It was trialled in a programme, I think, because there was an advert in the programme, wasn't it, the previous season, I think, which had the zigzag pattern as the background to the advert. and people were saying that's our shirt for next year.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's the way it worked, and it was like shock horror. People were saying, "Can't have that. It's horrendous. What's wrong with it?" But like you say, it's a cult shirt now.
Yeah, it's a knockoff of the. There's quite a few. There's the Arsenal
banana
group
shirt.
banana shirt,
Yeah.
which is the kind of the forebearer of it, for want of a better phrase. And then we had a knockoff of it. City even had a similar one, their burgundy one, but it was all burgundy into the pattern. Bournemouth had one. I think Bournemouth was Influence or like the manufacturer of their shirt, so that was green and purple. So I think we got off quite lightly.
We've had some coverage from it because there was an article not that long ago. I think it popped up somewhere. I can't remember where it was from, but it was talking about that specific shirt.
I've got Big Kev's shirt from that season, and it's in the National Football Museum.
I was going to say there is one. Is that yours? Yeah.
It does seem to be the one when people are more so than a few years ago when it seemed to be the Arsenal one potentially. But I've noticed when people are talking about way out there 90s shirts, that county one gets mentioned quite a lot these days. And it's
Classic Football Shirts had one in, not in stock. I noticed they posted it on their Instagram a few weeks ago. Shop in Manchester, so I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I actually went down there like the following morning. It was a match
8 o'clock.
It took me 10 with me. And I noticed it's a match worn one, so I just went and said, I'd be interested if you still got it. And he said, no, we get hold of some shirts and we don't sell them, we keep them for our personal museum, so when we go on tour we can show them off, and this is one we are not going to sell because we wanted it for ages, a match worn one. So it's Toddy's long sleeve one.
Wow.
Anyway.
Cool stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah, we'll get on to more shirt talk later. What next?
Well, we're on.
Yes. Bedwettery part 2.
We're on Bedwetters. Bedwettery part 2. Do you want the deep end or the shallow end?
It's good deep. It's good deep.
So yellow board. What's been going on? Because you had a bit of shit, didn't you?
Bit of shit.
And then it turns out that it's
still
going on.
Still is going on.
I've missed all of this, by the way. I've not seen any of this.
Yeah, where to start? So Terry and I. So Terry, don't call him that. The real exile in Swadehead, who's had Marion's board back in 2013, and then we tried to launch the Pro. Well, we did not try to. We did launch the new format Pro Boards board in 2013. It took off briefly. Then everyone migrated back to Marion's board, and that was that. We handed the board over to Christine and Phil. They had it until, Christine certainly had it until the start of this year. She gave it up, and Terry and I took it back on. There seems to be a bit of a popular line that we promised never to ever do anything with it, which, again, if someone can show me where I ever said that, I'll hold my hands up. But the intention at the time was to keep Marion's board as it was. That changed over time, so we had a 3-week closure of Marion's board to kind of drum up some interesting pro boards, which, for me is a fairly, beige, mundane step in life. Temporarily closing a message board for 3 weeks. With an absolute promise, which we stuck to, that it will reopen on whatever the date was in 3 weeks' time. That happened, that is a matter of historical fact. The real exile and I got messages genuinely calling us, Nazis, dictators. This is like North Korea. You don't know what you're doing to me. I don't know how you can live with yourselves. Genuinely wishing pain and misery on us. And it wasn't just one, pseudonym idiot doing this. This was multiple messages over days and weeks. We were still getting abuse online as recently as about 2 or 3 weeks ago, calling us bellends, cocks, again, dictators. You think, fucking hell, lads. It's a message board. It's a message board. So, yeah, as we promised, Marion's board is reopen. People are free to use that as they see fit. Pro Boards, which is yellow board, is open. It's very, very popular. We're doing about 20,000 page requests a day on there. Message board. Post where you like. It's a message board.
It's free.
Yeah, I don't know. I can be quite dismissive and say it's a message board, but we all use them. So they all play a part in our life. So it's not nothing, and I recognise it's not nothing. But look at what's gone on in the world over the last 6 months. Look at what's happened to people. Look beyond that and what goes on in people's lives every day. And I'm always kind of quite careful. I always think, well, I don't know what's going on in people's lives. So if they react like that, maybe there's something that's tipped them over that edge. But come on, consider what's potentially going on in our lives as well. And if we're getting messages when I'm at home at night with my wife and the kids, calling me like a fucking see you next Tuesday and all things like that, is that necessary? Is that really necessary? And if you still think it is, then you want to see you next Tuesday. Yeah.
I think with this fundraising prowess that you've got, maybe we could raise some funds to actually send these people to North Korea.
Yeah, I'll put
to see if that changes the tune.
I'll put a tenner in for that.
But these boards aren't free to run, are they? Or is pro board? It's not. You have to put something in, don't you?
Yeah. I'm going to stop calling them the real Excel. Terry and I put money in. We've got like a recurring card payment that goes out once a month. It's not insignificant, the money. Plenty of the other users do chip in and they put like 10, 20 quid in here and there, which is very, very helpful. But yeah, we're not doing this for free. It's not something that you set up and then it just runs itself. We moderate, edit, remove, approve, do. Every day we are doing that stuff. So it's not, we don't get anything for it. We don't get rewarded for it. We don't get perks from the club. We don't get freebies from advertisers. We pay to don't have adverts on there. There's nothing, my wife doesn't actually know I do it, so she listens to this podcast. We're sure listen to it because she hates football. She probably hates me as well. So it's fine.
Yeah, that's why mine don't listen to it.
Have you checked where those emails came from?
Local IP address. So yeah, if someone says, why do you do it? I don't know. One of the accusations that kept going against Terry and I was it's power. It's power. That will show me what power I've got. The power I have got is I can edit your messages on a forum, which, unless you've ever said anything libelous, I don't think I've ever done. So if that's the reason for putting hours in and spending decent amounts of money every month and getting mithered and abusive emails, it's not a great deal. No. I'm doing it because the club needs a message board, it needs someone to run it, it needs a reliable platform for people to kind of exchange views. So I can do it, so I am doing it.
I ran the old yellow board. I think it was after Hippie actually, Blue Hippie. I think it was just after him, and yeah, I didn't do it for very long because I had people emailing me every day saying he's said this, she said that. Yeah. I want you to ban this person, ban that person. I'm just like, I've got time for this shit. Jesus Christ.
Well, we've said it before, we'll say it again, grown men.
Yeah.
And women.
Grown people. Yeah. Adults.
Yeah.
With positions of responsibility and probably small children that they're responsible for. And just,
standings in the community.
Yeah.
It's bonkers, isn't it?
Well, that's been Bedwetter Watch. That's been a regular feature that now has a name.
Yeah.
So should we move on to like county stuff rather than message board stuff?
What do you want to do?
Well, pre-season's up and running now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Signings are plenty. The squad's starting to take shape. I think we're probably 2 or 3 signings off from what Jim's been saying on Twitter.
Yeah, well, we said last time, didn't we? What was we at 18 last time?
Yeah.
18, 19.
And we've signed Southern Hales since then.
Yeah.
And
Josh Barnes, yeah. Keeper. Yeah. I said we needed a keeper, didn't I?
Yeah.
He's got a bloody sign.
I mean, I don't think that was some big thing. I mean, we only have one.
I told you what to do next. See if he does it.
Secretly controlling the world. Who else have we signed though as well? Has it been somebody else? Oh, Jordan Williams wasn't there when we last spoke, was he?
No, that's right. We have Williams has signed since then.
Harvey Gilmore?
Harvey Gilmore, but he's not signed.
Gilmore, he's just on a short-term contract, so hopefully we'll be
He's really rated, isn't he?
Yeah, there's a lot of fans who weren't happy that he left there.
You were at the match, Colton.
No, I was...
Oh no, you were out when you just said that. Yeah. Has anybody seen this Gilmore actually play? No.
He came on against. I watched the Salford game.
online.
On YouTube.
Yeah. I watched that,
And
but
he,
wasn't
yeah,
really.
he looked fairly bright. Yeah.
Yeah.
He played the second half when we started to take control of the game. And yeah, it looked like a tidy play. It looked like something there to work with.
Yeah.
But someone did tweet Jim asking how the squad looks now.
I saw that.
He did
Yeah.
lift Gilmore in his. Despite him only having a short-term contract, so I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Sam Walker's left today, hasn't
Yeah,
he's got some back,
Macclesfield.
so he mustn't like getting paid on a weekly basis.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed with that actually because they're in our league, aren't they? They've just come down and.
I mean, I can't blame him. To be fair, if he wants to
No.
stay in the National League, I'm sure he can get another year or two out of him. But
I think that's just a sign of where we are, to be honest, and the quality we've got. That Sam Walker can't get a contract at our place.
Yeah.
And Macclesfield will sign him.
I think Jim said Stevenson's likely to move on as well.
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah, I'm a bit gutted about that as well.
He's looked fit this pre-season. He's looked like he's bulked up. Same with Niall Bell as well. Niall Bell's really bulked up.
Yeah. Well, it's that. What's concerning me slightly, as if I mean I'm really splitting hairs now, because everything's rosy in it kind of. Is that the core of last season and the season before that he said he wanted to keep? Is that kind of dissipating a bit?
I don't know.
Inchliff, Minion, Palmer,
Keane. Is Keane going to play? Bell.
Plus, did he say
Thomas.
that before the March Stock Riches? Because you would think that that's the kind of continuity that you want to maintain. If all else being equal, if you suddenly got a load of money and said, "Look, you're shopping in this market now, lads," then that probably goes out the window to an extent.
Yeah, Mark, I think he did say that after Stock took over, but yeah, I don't know. It's ever so slightly niggling at the back of me.
I think what is important for me is that Hinchliffe and Palmer have obviously played together for certainly almost 2 seasons. Hogan had a bit of a run with Palmer last season, so you've got a solid 3 there. Minihan, whether he plays every week or not, or Southern Hales will, but Minihan obviously knows the club, knows what Jim wants from him, and Thomas as well. I think you've probably got enough there. It's not a kind of a settled 6 that we've had, for the last 2 years. But I think if you've got that 3, maybe 3.5, 4 players who play, have still kind of retained the old countiness of them, and it's not a clean sweep like when we dropped into the conference.
Yeah.
That's enough for me.
Yeah, I know it's a controlled clearing of the decks almost, isn't it? And a positive one
Not
with better players.
Clean sweep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's looking good. Anyone stood out for you in any of the games?
Reid for me. I don't think he's played a full 90 minutes yet, but he's linked up very well with Niall Bell. I know he scored the winner in that friendly against Salford. But yeah, it seems he can play out on the left or up top, so it gives us another couple of options up there. I think Richie Bennett as well. I think Bennett looks strong, very physical. I think there's a lot of defences that won't fancy coming up against him next season.
Yeah.
But there's not been a single. Even if we'd kept Turnbull and Walker for another year, I wouldn't have complained about that.
No,
I'd be quite happy for them to stay another year. I think they could have both done another job. Obviously, I can understand why we've not kept them, but yeah, it's all looking very encouraging, which is very. I would say it's very weird to say that, but Jim's been back here 4.5 years now, and that's what he does. He makes things look encouraging. Sort of shit out, get stuff done.
I'd love to make a really storming start though.
Yeah,
that'd be something that'd.
7 games
relax
in the first
into
4
it a bit
weeks.
more. Let's be top after the first month.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like the kind of arrogance we're seeing, and I'm a bit wary of that because saying we're going to base this league with favourites, we've got all these players, we've got riches, it's just a bit dodgy for me. But I just think starting a season well is just something I want to see, and then you can sort of not ease off exactly, but if you do get a couple of bad results on the trot, you've not dropped down to bottom, you've dropped to 6th. So and again, harking back to Bedwetting to a certain extent, if we have a bad start, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I honestly think Jim has got probably 3 games in the bank for a lot of people. I really, really do think that. If we're not on 7 points after 3 games, or hopefully we'll be on 9, but 7, 2 wins and draw from 3 games for me is a good start. I honestly think you'll start seeing people questioning. We've had all this money to spend. Why aren't we 9 points? Why aren't we goal difference of plus 10 and all this? And he will be getting questioned off the people who just don't like Jim Gannon.
Which it's just futile to. I mean, if people are going to try and stick the knife in, and because it tends to be people with ulterior who don't like him regardless.
Yeah.
It's not just normal match-going fans who think, oh, I think he's lost it here. It's people who didn't want him in the first place.
And the thing is, if we lose our first 3, I mean, I'm certainly not going to be calling for Jim's head or anything like that, because he's, why would you? Because you just wouldn't. But yeah, you would ask questions. Bloody hell, why have we lost the first 3? That's not what I was expecting. What's gone wrong? But
it's constructive, isn't it? It's not just. Funnily enough, I don't know if you guys noticed. Was it today? I'm not sure if it was today or yesterday. But part of the ongoing discussion with Gannon and players, somebody mentioned a couple of people in the main stand that forgot him, and he replied with Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah.
Which I thought for the manager to it's like, it's hilarious and really funny. I love it. I just wonder whether he'll be reined in a bit.
Because he mentioned them in one of his interviews as well last season about was it the Mrs. Doyle thing?
Yes.
I like the misery. He mentioned that. So they've obviously got to him. These.
But it's interesting. It goes back to what you said earlier and what we've said on this podcast numerous times. There are people at the club who hate him, and it doesn't matter what you could do. You could get us into the Premier League and challenging for Europe, and you'd still lose 2 games and people would win his back. Okay. And unfortunately, we've got a lot of those people in the club, and they're never going to go away.
Yeah.
I think the strongest indicator is the fact that he's been given a year contract extension. So I think that shows how long he'll get from the board and the owners and what have you.
I do worry. So is that take him to the end of next season? Or
end of next season.
So not the upcoming season.
So he's got another 2 years.
Right. Yeah. So I do kind of worry a little bit that if we don't, I'm not necessarily one of these who expects us to finish top. But say if we finish 7th and lose in the playoffs, are they going to think, do you know what? That's not what we're here for.
That does worry me. Stick with him, to be honest. But yeah, I can see where them worries are coming from. Yeah.
And I always say this when people are, there's a comment on the board the other day that if you caught Jim Gannon in bed with your missus, you'd like make him a brew and tuck him in at night. And I'm not someone like that, but show me someone who's a realistic proposition who is a better manager for Stockport County at the moment, or over the next 5 years.
Well, funnily enough, there's a post on the Facebook supporters group from the season we won the title. It's from about October time,
right.
And people are calling for his head, and there's genuinely someone in there saying, "Oh, I'd bring Alan Stubbs in." Apropos nothing. Alan Stubbs.
What's the username? Stubbs A97.
Yeah. But some of the names on there though.
Liam Watson was always one, wasn't it?
Liam Watson, where's he now? John Flanagan.
Yeah.
Looking like a creepy bus driver.
It just depends how it goes, doesn't it? I mean, there's loads to get through, and if we do get less than 7 points, I agree with that. If we get less than 7, the cracks will start to appear in the people that didn't like him in the first place. But I think it'll take a lot for the next group of people, whatever we're going to call them, fans, to start to crack. It's gonna. I think it'll take a lot before that happens. But if we do, like you say, if we do get the playoffs and lose, that would be okay for me. But the following season, the pressure is on. Then it's really on. You're going to be wanting to win it, I suppose, after that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, his track record suggests that we'll finish higher this season than we did last season, because he's done that every year.
Yeah.
So,
which would be the playoffs.
Yeah.
Even on the points per game table that we ended up with.
Yeah. I mean, he might have a different opinion, but I reckon that's a balanced fan view. If I call myself a balanced fan. Do you know what I mean? If you lose in the playoffs, you're going to want to, especially with the money you've spent, you're going to want to win it the next season.
Yeah. We will see.
We shall.
Do we have thoughts on the? There's meant to be work going on at Edgeley Park. I believe there's some pictures up today of, I think they're putting new cladding on the G lane, so we might finally see the end of those horrible red dots. Yeah,
that I know that's been seen, but somebody mentioned that as well in an interview, did they, or something? Or was it Johnny Vaughan? Not the Johnny Vaughan. Is he CEO? Is he? Something?
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, he.
Somebody mentioned. It might not have been him. Somebody mentioned it, that they were putting cladding on, new cladding.
And from what people said, there's going to be work going on to all the conference and banqueting.
Yeah.
Changing rooms, or the home changing rooms.
Yes.
Haven't they? Not the away
was it you who said we should just go full shit house for the away changing
room? Oh, rip the pegs off.
Yeah. Cold water. Yeah. No lights.
Kick the toilet out. Yeah. Just dig them out.
Just leave a massive shit in there. Either way.
Because I'm just going to drop a name in here. When it was Flinny's testimonial, I worked with George Hudson on the programme. So I interviewed Dave Jones and Gary Megson, got some quotes off them and all this. And I was speaking to Megson about, first season up in Division 1 expectations, and he was talking about the press and all these clubs saw them as little Stockport, and they were playing the likes of Middlesbrough and City and Wolves and that, and he really bought into it and said, right, yeah, we are little Stockport, let's make them feel like they're in little Stockport. And when they played Borough, so they had Gaza and Ravanelli wasn't still there, I don't think, but they had a proper squad of Premier League players. They snapped off all the coat hooks in the changing room, so when they turned up, in all the top suits,
gear and that,
official travel suits and all that, they had nowhere to hang them. And it was little things like that they used to really, really kind of play on.
It gets in your head.
And it'd annoy the Borough players. They've got to put their like £3,000 suit in a puddle on the changing room. And he said that I think he played QPR, and they used to have a centre half, I think, called Carl Reddy, who had long Barry Dennison hair, and he came and asked for a mirror before the game, and Megson went in and said to the players, this prick's just asked for a mirror. So what more do you need to know?
Yeah. That's quality, that. Yeah.
John Beck at Cambridge, he used to water the corners of the pitch. So that when he had the players lumping it down the channel, it'd hold up.
He was one of the first instigators of that kind of shit, actually. Because they used to put a full bag of sugar in the tea and stuff like that, and cold water, and then they'd have no boombox, whereas the home team would have a massive one playing out the music at full volume, and it was all about the little chicks.
Good, I'm all for that.
That's all part of the game, that. Yeah, definitely.
And the dugouts are moving as well.
Dugouts are they moving?
I believe what was the away one is now going to be the home one.
Right, so that the away team have to walk past the home dugout. You see, that's another one.
And Statler and Waldorf won't be able to be heard by Jim.
Are we getting the leather car seats?
I'm hoping so. The ones where you can't get out of them.
Yeah, but that's another good one where they've got to walk past the home dugout. I mean, just a little thing like that. That'd be Gannon, that.
I'd have the dugouts on the pop side though. Personally,
I'm not railway end for the home.
So long as they raised up, because I think dugouts are such a shit.
Well, I think they have done. I think they've taken. From what I could see on a picture, I could be totally wrong. It looked as if they'd moved them into the first 3 or 4 rows of the main stand.
Like Old Trafford. If you're Old Trafford, you've got to walk up to the...
Exactly, yeah.
But managers are weird, because have you ever noticed the number of managers that are watching the game from the sideline and then they crouch down to make the view even worse?
See, Elster does it. He sits on his bucket.
Yeah. It's shit at head height anyway, mate. You need to be up in the spectators. But don't go to waist height.
Well, I stand on the sidelines a lot, and you can see the game perfectly well from where I'm stood. In the dugout.
Do you not think though, if you were up in the... I mean, obviously you need to be close to the pitch to shout stuff and whatever, I totally get that. But in terms of getting a view of the game and how it's unfolding and where players are in position, you need to be higher up.
Like Sam Allardyce and Sammy
It's tradition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Managers always go on the side of the pitch, because at lower league levels, that's the only
That's
place
his place,
As you go up in the game, you probably think that's...
Yeah, I think to watch it as a spectator, you're probably better higher up, but as a part of the coaching staff, then I prefer to be right next to it, to be honest.
Is it Steve McLaren who used to do I think first half he'd sit in the stand, and then the second half he'd come down into the dugout?
Yeah, with his brolly.
Yeah,
wanker.
If Jim Gannon ever comes on, we can ask him.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's it. Oldham away in the friendly pre-season last season, it was absolutely tipping it down. Jim Gannon just sat there in the rain. I'm thinking, that's brilliant. That's what I do. All County ladies, on Sunday, it was absolutely tipping it down. Me and the assistant manager Sean, we're just stood in the rain, and all the girls and even the managers.
I love playing football in the rain.
It's quality, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you think we'll see a move? I don't think they can at this level, because I think they're kind of obliged to wear that naff Jacko team wear.
Oh, it's not Jacko anymore. New Balance.
Oh, is it New Balance?
New Balance.
That's good.
Yeah,
tremendous.
Going up in the world.
Okay.
They're all going to look like...
But I wonder if we got back in the Football League, if Jim would go back to suits. Because in his first spell, he was always...
Me and my mates discuss this every home game. Every home game we have a chat about this. I hope so. I really hope so.
So we're not allowed to wear our Puma gear?
I'm pretty sure not officials, but club, non-playing coaches and that. I could be wrong, but I think they have to wear the Jacko. Because they all wear it, don't they?
Yeah.
So I can't imagine they're doing it for a Sunday.
I mean, you won't wear Jacko unless you're a
Well, I thought we only wore that because we probably got it for free. Whereas now we can probably wear what we want, can't we?
I'm pretty... Because we've always had Joma branded county stuff, so you'd think that Jim and Dave Conlon and Landon and all them would wear the county branded stuff. But I would think that they are obliged to wear the Jacko or now the New Balance stuff.
I think so. But I want to see Jim in a suit again. The promotion parade, the title winning parade, he turned up in a suit. I
I think he was always in a suit in his first spell.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
I don't think he ever wore a tracksuit, did he?
Suit with a cup of coffee at the side.
Yeah.
I remember.
That's how I do Football Manager.
I remember him losing one once. Not like shit. Where's it gone? But he had it and he put it on the side.
Oh, I thought you meant he'd lost his suit.
No, a cup of like coffee in a polystyrene cup, and he put it on the side as he sat back, started leaning back at it, started writing something in a little notebook or something, started reading, and the ball came up and bounced off his coffee. Oh, I don't think anyone else saw it. I was laughing my head off me.
Oh, brilliant.
As a Tory, whenever I'm down in London and I find myself short of quail's eggs, I head down to Covent Garden to replenish my stock. And if I want eggs in Stockport, I head to @Covent Garden.
94 Lower Hillgate in the heart of Stockport Old Town. Come and visit @Covent Garden for quality breakfast and lunch, fantastic coffee, cakes, light snacks, and above all, a friendly place with great service. Open match days.
Fixtures are out today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who did you want? Brazil away?
Actually, just for me, it harks back to what I was saying before about the good start. I don't think that's a great first fixture. I know we tated them last time, didn't we?
Yeah.
At their place, but I don't know. I have a feeling about long trips. I never see long trips with confidence.
Yeah, but I think it's completely different this time because they're not all going down on the day. I don't think.
Yeah, not work. They've not got a week of work.
No.
Hinchcliffe's not turning up his Eddie Stobart.
Yeah, exactly. They're going down the night before. They're probably having a proper meal, proper breakfast, all that kind of thing.
But even when we it might be me getting the memories wrong, but even when we were full time previously, long trips to South Coast teams just always seem to be horrendous, and we never seem to get results.
Tough, and they'll be up. But Torquay will fancy a shot this season. Maybe not winning the title, probably playoffs.
Yeah, I expect to be up there definitely.
And they had a very, very strong start last year because they hammered us 4-0, I think, at Ashley Park,
yes, that's right,
when we had that dismal run.
Yeah.
Then they had an awful probably 3 months, which is when we hammered them at their place. And I don't think they finished too badly. And they've still got, I assume they've still got Gary Johnson as manager, who has won this league, several times, or got out of this league several times. They are another ex-Football League club who will probably, if not fancy winning it, will certainly fancy the top 7. So yeah, it's not an easy game. It's not. I don't even know what you would class as. I don't know who we would see as a first game and you think, yeah, that's a nailed on 3 points.
Yeah.
No.
Really?
No, maybe one of the ones that came up, perhaps, but even then.
Who came? Well, Kings Lynn, Alty. Wouldn't fancy Alty at all.
I think they'll surprise a few people. I think they'll be top half, but I don't think they'll be challenging us in the top. Also, yeah.
No, I don't think they'll be pushing for the title, but
I don't think they'll be in relegation trouble this season.
They've got that momentum, haven't they? They've had several promotions, or 2 promotions in 3 years or something, and they are a conference club, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're probably a conference.
Traditionally,
club,
one of the bigger clubs at this level in the past. Yeah.
They were always on Premier Manager in the conference, back in the 90s.
It's a good club, aren't they? And from the south, it was Wealdstone and.
Yeah.
That's when is Wealdstone away?
Weymouth. Oh yeah, Weymouth.
When have we got Wealdstone away?
So Tuesday night, thankfully.
Early in the season, it's going to be good because imagine the state of some of our bedwetters with that weird bloke.
Does he still go? Well, we don't know, do we?
I bet they wheel him out every hour.
Do we care?
Yeah.
He's doing his betting adverts and all that shite.
Yeah.
But they'll all be around him getting pictures with him, so I'm glad there's going to be no fans there for that one.
We've got some shockers on a Tuesday. I think we've got Wealdstone on a Tuesday, Bromley on a Tuesday. I think Kings Lynn might be on a Tuesday.
They've upped the number on Tuesdays, so I think they just cram it in a bit more.
Which
so.
I love a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But Kings Lynn on a Tuesday, that is one for the
the stream.
The egg butty
reckon we'll stream them?
They might do.
Yeah, clubs already started saying that they are doing, aren't they? They're talking about a tenner a game.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
I'd quite happily pay a tenner a game.
Yeah, for an away match I would. Yeah, definitely.
I'd pay that for a home if I couldn't get a ticket.
It worries me slightly though. If this streaming thing catches on and gets a bit bigger, because you've got to go to the match really.
Yeah.
I can exiles if you can't get to it, fine.
I think most county fans, they might not go to as many. And if for a mid-season game at somewhere like Bromley, if it was go down and spend probably £200.
Yeah,
or
of course.
Watch it for a tenner at home.
Yeah.
I would never dream of watching a home game on telly, but rather than kind of going to the match.
No, but that's where my worry lies. Is if they start doing it for free, like they did the friendlies, people are just going to be not asked and just not go to the match, aren't they? And just watch it.
I can't know how it all works out when we're back to normal. in quotes. You know, if we're back to having a full ground and we can put as many as we like in, you've then still got the capacity to stream. There's actually a chance of additional revenue there if you pitch the price right. If you make it too attractive, then you might get some of the, you know, the casual fans would stay at home rather than come, and you want them in the ground ideally.
Yeah.
So it's really tricky to then think what the price point would be. But then you've got exiles. You know, we've potentially got hundreds, if not four figures, of people around the world or down south who would pay for each and every game because
for
they just
exiles, it's quality. Yeah.
Exactly. So. And you can restrict it, but there's ways around it. Because I mean, I sometimes get a baseball sub for America, and they can check your IP, check where you are, and say, okay, you can't see this team, you can't see the New York Yankees. They're not my team, by the way, because you're in New York. They look at my thing, oh right, you're in Britain, you see who the hell you like.
Yeah.
So you can't actually do that. And whether we could say to people, if you're in England, you can't get it. But then again,
I think they do a similar thing with football league clubs as that I follow
Yeah.
service, the app that you can download and whatever. And I'm not sure if it's still the case, but I know at one point that was just for people abroad, and it checked where your IP address was.
Or people at home, if you have the wherewithal to get a certain kind of stream from a certain kind of provider, which allows you to see all those games.
That we wouldn't endorse, but a list of those will be on our website shortly.
There's a tipping point for me if because the human race are lazy, you know, especially middle-aged white men. You know, if you make it cheap enough for them not to bother to go to the ground, they will not bother.
It's the added value, isn't it? Because everyone here knows that, okay, sitting with a brew, watching a match on telly is one kind of experience.
Yeah.
It doesn't compare in any way
to
going for a pint, going to the game.
Exactly, and the things that you do around that.
So what is that added value, and how much is that added value worth? And that's the price point they need to make.
Honestly, they could, for me, again, I'm lucky I've got a season ticket renewal from last year, but even if I didn't have a season ticket and they said each home game was 25 quid or you can watch it at home for £1, I would pay the 25 quid and go watch the game because of everything that Dave just mentioned. It's not watch, and to be honest, the game is almost irrelevant. It's my mates, it's the routine, it's walking down Caroline Street and all those little tangible things which on their own are nothing, but as a whole become one of the most important things in your life.
Yeah. I just fear that for every one of you, there's 4 people that probably would pay the £1.
Which is what I was getting back to. Is that then you worry about his price point? Would those poor people pay £5? Would they pay £7.50?
Exactly. Yes, that's what I mean. There's this tipping point, isn't there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's clever people working on this as we speak because you know they know all this. It's not you know, rocket science. It's just they're trying to maximise revenue for the club and they'll do it in whichever way works.
Because I was saying to my girlfriend and my mum earlier, last game I went to was Barney at home. So it's been 6 months since I went to a county match, which is the longest I've gone in my life. Without. So it's getting to. I'm starting to get a bit stir crazy now. I do want it. So it's not going to be a problem for. So if other people think like me, then it'll be alright. People will go back and go. But like you said, if there are people who are just content with the streaming.
Yeah. So we got Torquay away on the opening day, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeovil away on the last day.
And then I saw that.
Down to Yeovil to get the trophy.
I think we've got.
Is it at home on Tuesday?
Is it Dover or Halifax or something? Hang on, I've got the fixtures here.
Yeah, because Halifax at home's in the first
Halifax, so we've got Torquay on the Saturday, Halifax at home on the Tuesday,
right?
Dover at home on the Saturday, then Wealdstone away, and then Chesterfield away, which is a bit of a kick.
Yeah. So that Halifax at home match for those that have renewed their season tickets, yay! That feeling of going in and just sitting in your seat, I'm so looking forward to that on the 6th of October or whatever it is.
It's weird though. Sorry to piss on your chips, but it will seem like a really low. Not that it won't be low key because everyone will be dead excited, but the ground will look as empty as it does for a middling, struggling.
Check a trade game.
Yeah, we were there at Rush Olympic and things like that, weren't we? When it felt like that anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I don't care. It's just going to be surrounded by seeing the Bergara flag, the Flinney flag, the Nile Bell flag, all that. It's just going to be.
Yeah. I mean, I said before. Before I forget the point, it's really cool that we've now got managers' quotes because it hadn't occurred to me until you said that that's a Gannon quote and we've got the Bergara quote, haven't we? Have we got a flag with
Small House?
Small House.
Yeah,
I've seen it. Yeah.
So it's not up consistently, but we do have it.
But it's a cool thing to do, and the thing about making County a cool club, that's all part of it. We're the club that does flags in the lower leagues with managers' quotes.
I noticed that with Project Restart, the first few games that I watched. I know a lot of clubs have liaised with fan groups to have flags up. I know Liverpool did some good ones, but the ones they had at Man City were just all had the sponsors' names on there, and it just felt so soulless. It was just manufactured.
It's the same every season, isn't it? When regardless of like COVID, even on a normal season, you go in and you just notice new little things.
Yeah.
Oh, they've painted that. Look at that bin. Let's collect money.
Well, people already noticing that with the back of the Cheadle end already. You can see like the start of the new cladding. You can just about make it out on the pit. I think you pointed it out. Yeah.
I get excited at the stupidest things. When I went to collect this shirt actually from the shop, they had one of the awnings, with Stockport County Football Club on. I was like, they've put some
branded gazebos.
We've got a gazebo for people waiting. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Oh.
I don't live too far from the new training ground, so I've driven past it a couple of times, and it does give you a little bit of a boost when you drive past it and you see that. And it's it's a proper sign. We're obviously using that same typeface across the board.
Yeah.
That is County's new piece of branding.
Yeah.
It's very, very County branded now. You think, this is real, this is proper, and we're doing things. Everything that we've not achieved anything yet, but everything that has been done so far feels as if it's been done properly.
Absolutely,
We're doing it the right way.
Could you imagine if the font was slightly out? I'd be going like that.
Comic Sans or something.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Screams
That's the go-to font in it when taking the piss.
But even if they just didn't use any, and it wasn't consistent.
Yeah.
Then there was no kind of thought, or there wasn't someone doing it who knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
It was just someone doing their best, which is what we've bless people who do that. That sounds really patronising, say bless them, but that's what we've had in the past. People who have done their best, and in one respect, you can't knock people who do their best because they're doing their best. But
yeah,
I mean, we're part of a big, rich, wealthy organisation, aren't we? So I'm assuming some of the guys behind the social media, behind the branding, have moved across or have taken that on board.
Yeah, well, we say that in his first interview. He's got people with all sorts of skill sets that he'll be bringing in.
They're not necessarily football people, are they?
No,
just skilled.
They're just skilled people. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Even down to the live streams. In between, you've got the adverts and the the club shop adverts. It's just the video
so with what's her face, Michelle. That's a professional looking video. Yeah. It's the kind of stuff they have. Like I said before, I've been to City a couple of times in the last couple of years. They have something very similar that they play out before the game starts on the screens there. And you can imagine that video playing out on our screen.
Yeah,
I was thinking that watching because they've been showing it before the friendlies when they streamed on YouTube. They've been showing it before at half time and stuff. So I do think maybe that will be.
We do need to sort the sound out though. I mean, that coming over the tinny little speakers we've got at the moment would be a bit shy.
Yeah.
But that video behind the railway end with a nice bassy speaker set.
The one I always remember was the first time I went to the Stadium of Light, and they played that
Romeo and Juliet.
And it shook you. Yeah. It was. I don't know what it's like now. They've got pink seats, so it's probably awful now. But I remember.
It's on Balearic Beach now, isn't it?
Someone guys who got into it. We're trying to talk while the music's on. And it was like in a nightclub. You couldn't hear anything. It was amazing.
You got you ready for it. It's funny. I used to be sort of when Saturday comes correspondent for County, and every season they used to do a pre-season preview. And one of the questions, they used to vary the questions each year. And one year it was, what run-out music would you have? And without thinking of the implications, I said Ride of the Valkyries, because I thought it's a fantastic piece of music. So, and the editor sort of came back and says, "Why have you picked that?" I thought, "Oh shit! Look, it's not anti-Semitic at all. It's not because of that, honestly." Because Wagner was a massive anti-Semite, and it's just a great tune, and they ran with it. And so I think I put there underneath, not anti-Semitic. It was just a fantastic tune, but the proper kind of classical music, like at Sunderland, with the proper sound system, would really get you going.
One thing I hope we don't do is like a major tournament countdown from 10 to kick. I'm out if I do that.
Yeah, with fire going, and an inflatable flaming arm man.
The other tradition I do want us to keep is on the Remembrance weekend game, when you've got some guy coming on to do the bugle.
Yeah.
I hope for every year for the rest of the time, Ken presses the play button at just the wrong time, so he gets interrupted, because he did it the other year.
He did, yeah.
With Scatman John coming on, and they hadn't even been playing Scatman John.
That's honestly up there with any goal I've ever seen. It's a great Every Park moment. It's fantastic. Well, it's getting to the stage now when that does come out, and you see the cenotaph commemorations on November 11th on the news and what have you. and that song pops up again now. It's
Yeah.
ruined for me. Someone comes up to me selling a poppy.
More people should do it. They should.
The most solemn moment in national life every November.
But most clubs have taken the solemn nature out of it anyway, because they've got some daft mascots up there. Mascot minute silence is the greatest Twitter page.
Oh, the poppy with legs. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Thinking?
Who was that? A poppy with
Did you
legs?
see that?
No.
They had a mascot.
Tranmere, it was Tranmere.
Was it Tranmere?
Tranmere, sure it was, yeah.
I mean, you know, like people are trying to out-poppy each other. What's wrong with just a subtle lapel one if that's the way you want to
Yeah,
go?
with your club next to it as well. That, did something nice.
Oh no, we've got to have bigger. We've got to have fashion ones on telly, and you've got to have this, that, and the other. And it culminated in you've got to Google the pictures. An actual poppy with I presume it was a kid inside it because it wasn't very big, was it? And the legs were
It was dwarf.
But these little red legs coming out the bottom, and it was being led onto the pitch. A poppy with arms.
Question for you both: if you could recreate one sporting moment and be there doing it yourself, what would it be, Russ?
Winning putt in the 1992 Open Championships to replicate Nick Faldo.
Golf then?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know, not my thing. But you, Dave?
Well, as I'm a Tory, as you well know, so I go and watch cricket. And I was there along with John Billsbury, friend of the podcast, the Tea Party podcast, and we were both there when Ben Stokes hit the winning runs in the Headingley Test on that famous Sunday a couple of months ago. So I would recreate that.
Even I watched that. I'm going to have to go for a county moment now, then, aren't I? Top of my head, Glenn Taylor's header for Spennymoor against Chorley, all the way.
Get in.
So why have you asked us that, Ernie?
Because it's a little message from our new sponsors, the Players Entrance in Mersey Stockport, where you can go and recreate many sporting moments.
And it's run by a county fan.
And
it's got Darren Stevenson on the wall. There's a mural of Darren Stevenson on the wall.
Doing an overhead kick, I believe.
Doing an overhead kick.
I'm going to get on for it. I don't want him doing that. Was he actually doing an overhead kick like as a model for the picture?
I don't know. The picture I've seen with him, he's got his broken leg, or whatever he's done.
Maybe that's how he broke it.
Maybe.
But before we go to the break and then talk the 96-97 Cup run, should we sell some tat? I think we've both got interest in selling some shit, haven't we?
Yeah, let's sell some tat.
So we've got some t-shirts on the go. We've sold a few already. Someone just messaged me asking where theirs is.
Have you sent it out yet, Nick?
Yeah, I sent it today.
Okay, good, right.
Not going to be
Yeah, so hopefully when we go back to county, Kidderminster maybe, they'll start seeing people wearing those. So we've got some still on sale, haven't we? We've got large and...
We've got large and we've got XXL as well.
Yeah, so all the
large
XLs.
and COVID size.
Yes, yeah.
For the more body junkie.
There's some people who were kind enough to donate to us when we did our fundraising drive, so they'll be very soon getting freebies sent out.
Yeah, assuming we have the size for you. But if we don't have the size for you, then we will give you anything that we do next.
Yeah, because we're starting to think about the next lot we're going to do now.
Yes.
But yeah, if you go to either our Facebook or Twitter, there'll be a link on there to our Depop store, and you can buy that. It's £10 and £2 postage, which I would argue is very reasonable.
It's a quality shirt. What Gillen shirts? What are they?
Connolly, Gannon, Flintoff.
No, I mean the quality of
Gilden.
Gilden, yeah, there you go. Gilden shirts.
Oh, it's a nice bit of material, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah, good. So they've been doing alright. I don't know what to do next though. We've got the Francis print, haven't we?
With the old highlight video typeface.
Yeah, with the pearl on the bottom of it. That looks pretty good.
Yeah. But so once again, people will be well up for buying that until they're on sale.
Yeah, which is what we found. Yeah, we've got a fucking shitload of t-shirts now. We can't shift.
What are you selling, Ben?
What am I selling at the moment?
Our your suitcase.
Yeah, got some cracked ice as well.
Does your wife know about you selling exploits?
Oh
I was going to say, does she know about your shirts?
She's working in packing and dispatch. So yeah, obviously with the global pandemic, the introduction of face masks in public places, I've provided a very, very valuable public service and supplied, designed and supplied a very effective range of, not PPE, but, masks. So I've sold quite a lot of those, around a handful left, based around the Romania shirt and the Tony Dinning Main Road shirt. But I've also ventured into shirt prints now. So new prints and postcards are 15 of our classic shirts available to buy from stockportcountyshirts.co.uk. And there are also a couple of other things coming up before Christmas, but I don't know if I should mention.
Oh, tease.
Nick knows what.
I know what, but I won't be saying anything.
Okay.
I'll be keeping mum.
But if anybody else does bobble hats or custom county shirts before Christmas, you're a thief. So don't do it. It's my idea.
Not giving too much away there.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Hey, the bobble that'd be good.
It is good.
Yeah, I'd definitely have a bit of one.
Based on an old shirt. It's
Oh,
based
yeah.
But it's based on an old original bobble hat I've got from the early 90s, which is based on an old shirt.
Right.
So it's a remake of that.
Yeah. Good.
Not
Sounds
brilliant.
good. Well, have we got any other? Oh, Penno Draws is selling some. We know Penno Draws is selling some prints, isn't he? As well of
Yes.
that he does. They're good. They're pretty
Yeah,
good.
you've got-
I've
you've got
bought a
some,
few.
yeah.
They'll be going up in the County Arms very soon.
We're well served for. I hesitate to call it tap, but that's how we introduce this.
Yeah.
Bit. We're well served for.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Well, that's it. In the county culture, are they called?
Over the county culture.
Over the county culture, they're doing some good
I'm a
t-shirts.
big
as
fan
well.
of the Until Gone and I Was Never Happy, the Sally Cinnamon
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah,
Which Jim tweeted asking for one.
Yeah, until Mrs. Gannon. Yeah.
I think they've sorted him out as well, so fair play.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
With a one-off?
Well, why would you not sort him out?
Well, yeah, they should do, but with a one-off, and that's gonna be sought after, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it. That shirt, is it not?
Is it match one?
I mean, it's not going to be relevant to anyone else.
It's Jim.
though, is it?
It's Jim one. No, I suppose not. Yeah.
No one's going to nick it.
Giving up down the ladies. So, yeah, we've actually had a visit from Jim Gannon and Dave Conlon to a training session a couple of weeks ago.
Well, you were on your holidays.
Well, yeah, I know, I was on my holidays, which was a bit gutting. But what they've agreed to do is line up with us. I mean, the club had already spoken to the ladies' secretary, you know, and the committee, and said, look, we want you to be on board, and want us to all be aligned. What that actually looks like in reality, we don't know yet. But we've adopted the badge. We've got the LFC on the badge, which is good. And yeah, Jim and Dave came down to look at a session, spoke to the manager at length. So what they're actually doing is lining up each relevant coach to
The counterpart.
the counterpart and the
Excellent.
counterpart. So I don't think I'm speaking out of school here. We're getting invited down to Carrington for a day to be professionals for a day. And each coach is going to line up with their equivalent. So I'm goalkeeping coach. I'm going to speak to Carl and see how we can sort of share best practice. I'll probably be doing all the learning off him, to be fair. He's not going to learn anything off me, but that's fine. So yes,
If he's after recording a podcast, then he can get all that from you.
he can come. Yeah,
You are the person that people message on Twitter asking for
that
every
is-
step of making a podcast.
that is true. Yeah, I might write some instructions, do a video. So that's good. And yeah, and they've said that, you know, Ben and it's Josh, isn't it? Josh Barn. You know, they'll come down and have a session with us. So that's good. Pre-season's been going well as well. I've mentioned it before. We've got a load of new players in, but kept the core, like Jim Gannon's done, to be fair. And pre-season's gone really well. We've beaten teams in higher divisions, and we've got United under 21s this coming Sunday at Alties Ground. So I'll be stood in the dugout at Alties Ground. Doing
Not
one.
not sitting in the stand.
No, I don't go for that. I'll leave that to the analyst. So yes, it's been good, and then the fixtures are out. We're driven by COVID as well, so we start off with Bolton away, and got a few long trips to Durham and Newcastle United away before Christmas. So we're looking to go up. So it's almost like I don't think it's been manufactured that way, but we're looking to progress and go up at the same time as the men's side is.
What level are you at the moment then?
We're in the 4th tier.
Oh, so you'd be looking to go to the third.
Yeah.
When does it become national?
3rd tier.
So if you went up, you'd be a national.
I think so, yeah. Don't quote me on that, but I think so, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's looking good.
Exciting times all around, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And for the friendly on Sunday when we played Sheffield United reserves, and Sheffield United were in the Championship, so it was an easier game than we thought it'd be in the end. I mean, we ran out 5-0 winners, but we actually had county fans coming to watch us, which was great. So standard's good. Yeah, come and watch it. It's good.
So the future's very exciting, and you'd have to be a peculiar kind of bedwetter to find any fault about anything at the moment, wouldn't you? Really?
Well, yeah, definitely, yeah.
If you're finding something to whinge about, there's definitely something wrong with you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, unless you're splitting hairs and nitpicking like I tend to do. But I
Yeah,
focus
you're not whinging,
on the
though,
detail. Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah,
whinge.
yeah.
Jesus,
You've
no.
actually got like solutions and stuff like that. You're not just shit.
If your t-shirt's light, you can live with it anyway.
Yeah. If you complain about your t-shirt, send an email to contact@scarfbergarawar.com.
Or message us through the Facebook.
Yeah, and we'll have a word with Packing and Dispatch.
Which is what Vicky Sweeney's just done, and I've just responded to her now. That's prompt service.
Very good.
She's bought a shirt off me before.
Okay.
bought Matty McNeil's match worn gold shirt.
Got 3 of us.
Has she?
Huh?
Lovely lady.
Good. These T-shirts that we're selling as well. Can we just say that they've got Connolly, Gannon, Flynn, and Todd on them, like the Beatles and they look really smart.
Yeah.
Band name T-shirts, but just with footballers.
Yeah, look really smart. We're holding back on having one ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah.
And selling them to everybody first. Then we might nick one.
Every time I go in the wardrobe and get something out, I see them there. I'm like,
yeah.
I think maybe our names on them then.
Wait, imagine that!
Podcast T-shirt.
What a good idea! What a great idea!
No, you've had some doubt. I was joking.
I wasn't.
No, neither was I. Fucking ace idea.
Big picture of my face on it. And my teeth.
It just looked like a fax of Jurgen Klopp, like we used to say. Right. Shall we have a break? And then we'll get into the cup run of the 96-97 season that we all remember well.
It hasn't been documented anywhere before.
Maybe someone would.
Yeah.
Right. Cheers, boys.